Hello YouTube users and everyone who stops by my page. Once again, Zelda Chief 128, Omega Apex 128, Joshua Beach, whatever you want to call me, welcome to my video blog. Now, I know it's been a little while since I've gotten a chance to sit down and talk with you. Been very busy lately, got a new job working at Affiliated Computer Services, ACS Technologies, located in Tumwater, Washington. I now work for basically Verizon Wireless customer support. Really great stuff going on, so kind of why I've been unable to make a video blog here recently, but I finally have the time, so we're going to go ahead and take care of what I set out to do originally. If you remember, at the end of my Zavix Port blog, I mentioned that we would touch bases with the Atari 5200. So let's get started. Okay, so basically here's the rundown of the situation. You already heard it many times, you know, 1980s, ColecoVision, Intellivision, and Atari, the big three competitors. Well, Atari 2600, you know, great system, still is a great system, longest lifespan, thumbs up. No, you know what, 2 thumbs up. That's the Atari 2600. Now, the Atari 5200, it was made in 1982. It was to replace the Atari 2600, and it was supposed to be the competition for the Intellivision, but ironically ended up being the competition for ColecoVision. But what's even more ironic is that it failed miserably, and for pretty good reasons. So let's get started. First of all, when the system was released, it had, I guess, you know, this weird box. It hooked up to the TV. You plugged the power cord into it. It made no sense whatsoever. One cord coming out of the system. I don't know what they were thinking, quite honestly, when they released it. It was one of the first systems that had 4 controller ports. I give that to them, but you know, other than that, I'm not gonna give them much other credit. Personally, I have the second generation Atari 5200, which, to say the least, covers pretty much my entire video camera. Look at the size of this thing, seriously. 2 controller ports on this one, on the second release of the system. There was actually a, you actually did plug in the power supply. This is extremely difficult to make this video. Alright. You did actually plug in the power supply to the back of the system, and then you still did have the cord coming out to the bottom of the system that went to the, you know, jack thing that you screwed into the back of the TV or whatever. Anyway, I mean, just look at it. What more needs to be said? Alright, number 2, look, is this door on the back of it. Okay. Apparently this is supposed to be for controller storage, but you know, the controller's freaking... I mean, how's that gonna stay in there? Look at the joystick. This doesn't work, okay? No. This controller storage my face. Okay. I mean, even the games. I mean, look at the size of the games. You compare it to the original size of the Atari 2600 games, which I'm sorry I don't have with me right now, but they're about the size of the Intellivision games. Let me grab those ones. There you go. This was about the size of an Atari 2600 game. Look at this. Seriously. I mean, come on. What were they going for? I mean... Yeah, sure, they even added later on in 1983, I believe, they had an add-on that allowed you to play Atari 2600 games on this miserable piece of crap. I mean, okay, the system itself was good. It had good graphics, it was better than the Atari 2600, but where it failed is what I showed you in my last video with the Zavix port. It was this controller right here, a miserable flop. This is important to play the games, and guess what? When you can't play the games, you're screwed. This is why the system failed, okay? Look, it's unique for its time, okay? Basically, what they did when making the prototype controllers, they used RC components, which is why it's analog, but they're not spring-loaded. That was what their main problem was. I mean, yeah, sure, the movement is much more sensitive. I am impressed with it, but guess what? You move it to the right, it stays there. You move it to the left, it stays there. It's not... It doesn't function. It really doesn't. There are third-party companies nowadays that actually make controllers to replace these ones. Next, I would like to address on the controllers, though. They are revolutionary in the fact that, look at here, look at here, look at this. What do we got here? We have a start, a pause, and a reset. Having all three of those on the controller, that's revolutionary. You look at today's controllers, you know, like the Nintendo Wii that I got there in the background charging in the box. You got the power button on the top, you got a pause button, you got a home button. It's beautiful. It's great. You got it on the Xbox controllers I got over there in the bin. You got them right there on the controller. You know, you can do it. I think this would be the first one that had something like that. Now, again, wanted to be a competition for Intellivision. Intellivision and ColecoVision both had their crummy controllers, as you already know from my other video. And so, Atari did the same thing. Look at this. 12 keypad buttons. I mean, this is not a phone, okay? It's a control. Why would you need numeric buttons? I mean, even when you do look at it, though, it's almost like you could use it as a phone. Look at that. I'm not recommending it or anything like that, but seriously. And then you got the fire buttons on the sides. Why would you need 4 fire buttons? Seriously, I mean, it makes no sense. And then not only that, but they weren't really releasing new games for it. Centipede, Galaxian, I mean, come on. Those games were already on the Atari 2600 and people loved those. I mean, why would you make a new system and not make any new games for it? Okay, I can understand, you know, NES comes out with Super Mario Brothers, then Mario Brothers 2, Mario Brothers 3, Super NES. It releases Super Mario All-Stars, and it has those games with the 16-bit graphics. Okay, that's fine, grand and dandy and all, but you don't make the same games over and over and over and over again. Look how many Zelda games there have been. Look how many Mario games there have been. They were all unique in their own way. Guess what? These games are exactly the same. It's unnecessary. The Atari 5200 was a waste of time. The Atari 2600 lived on while the Atari 5200 faded into the limelight. How much sense does that make? Seriously. I mean, come on. Well, you heard me go on and on about the Atari 5200. I mean, what else can I say? So as far as recent developments go, I mean, a lot of great stuff happening. Happened to go into a store the other day, picked up another N64 and SNES that makes 2 now. Yeah, alright. I've actually even got 3 copies of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Why even have that? I've got no idea. Anyway, next time, you know what? I've been focusing on some of the crappier aspects and some of the unique aspects. Atari 5200, Zabbix port, you know. Hey, they were both great systems. Well, not so great. Nevertheless, keep playing video games, and next time, we're gonna do something awesome.